What's going on YouTube? It's Jeremiah Cregan here, back with another tutorial video for you guys. Today we're going to be going over how to do a flat top. A lot of clipper over comb, a lot of shaping with this haircut, a lot of freehand with this haircut. So if you guys have done flat tops before, you know they can be pretty difficult. If not, here's a little walkthrough of how I do my flat tops. Enjoy. Alright guys, let's get right into it. We're going to be doing a flat top today, 2 on the sides. So we're going to start by putting our 2 guard on the clipper and running it up the side of the client's head. We're going straight up towards the ceiling and we're not following the shape of his head. So making sure to keep that straight up and down. And that's not only when we do flat tops, that's also any haircut. Most haircuts I should say, but especially flat tops, we want to make sure we keep that straight up and down motion while we're cutting. So I'm going to take my comb and we're going to do some vertical clipper over comb around the parietal ridge area of the head. And you can see right now I'm just creating a nice square shape. I don't want to angle the comb at all. I want it to be straight up and down at all times. And we're just going to work our way around the entirety of the client's head with the vertical clipper over comb. Flat top has, it's still around. It's a look that I think always will be around. It's not super popular nowadays, but I'm curious how many of you guys have done flat tops or see them come into the shops you guys are in. So leave me a comment and let me know if you guys have ever done one or if they've given you trouble or if you're pretty familiar with them. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about it. You can see I'm taking some off of where I actually already ran the 2. Anything that is sticking out of the comb, you can cut. I mean, you can feel, if you feel comfortable cutting some off of, the temple area or, where right near where their ear is, you can do that. You just want to make sure it's all flush and when you're looking at it head on is clean and flat on the sides. So now on the top here, I start in the back and I'm going to create a guideline working my way towards the front of the client's head, and I'm just keeping my comb completely horizontal now and taking off any hair that pokes through that comb. Something with flat tops, it's important to know that when you think you've done it enough times, you got to go through it again. I go through the same motion so many times when I do a flat top, and it's important because there's always going to be hairs there, especially if you're going with the grain. You really want to make sure that it's clean cut and you get that top of the head as flat as you possibly can. And you see me, after I go through it, I brush it out, and comb the client's hair back to get the hairs to stand straight up. I want to make sure that I get all the hairs cut. And as tempting as it is to want to round in that back of the head or the sides of the head, you don't want to round anything in. You want to always keep that comb parallel to the floor, so just flat, horizontally flat on the client's head. You don't want to bend that comb in either direction. So I'm going through the left side of the client's head right now, and I'm probably just gonna grab a couple of these hairs on the side of their head. But you can see my comb is always straight up and down vertically when it's on the side and the back of the head, and then it is completely flat horizontally on the top of the head. So you really want to emphasize, if you're making a square shape, you want to make sure your comb is always on the client's head as a square shape would be. So here I'm going through and I'm refining the right side of the client's head, standing behind the client. So if I'm working on the right hand side of a flat top, or the middle of the head, middle or the right hand side of the client's head, I'm going to do it from the back behind the client. And then when I work on the left side of the client's head, I'm going to do it from the front, in front of the client. Now this client here usually likes to leave the front. I would usually cut the front of this flat top a little bit shorter, but he likes to leave it a little bit longer. I probably have 4 or 5 clients who get a flat top every couple weeks, which is probably the most I've ever had in my career. So I do these somewhat regularly, but yeah, this in particular client, we leave it a little bit longer in the front. Now here the comb's just straight up and down, and I'm just shaping in, refining the shape that I want to create for this client, making sure that it flows from the sides into the top. It's all shaping. This is all shaping, this haircut. Some freehand stuff like I mentioned in the beginning. So this is an example of freehanding. And I'm just looking for any hairs that I might see that I want to touch up, and I'll comb the hair in the opposite direction to get any straggler hairs to stand straight up. Again, more clipper over comb, more shaping. That's really all this haircut is. These kind of haircuts will definitely improve your clipper over comb game for sure. If you need to work on that skill, recommend finding some people who get flat tops if you can, and working on them, because this is pretty much the ultimate test of a clipper over comb. So I'm looking at all angles of the head, making sure that it looks flat from all angles, making sure the shape is right. I'm going to go ahead and cut the sideburns down a little bit, and over the ear, just make sure there's no hair standing out, so we can put some clean lines around the edges of this and really give it that final look. And again, once you think you've gone through it, go through it again. There's always going to be some refining for a flat top. So we're going to grab our trimmers. I'm using the Gold FX trimmers. If you've seen my videos before, you know I'm a big fan of these trimmers. And I'm just going around and outlining the edges here. I'm going to put a nice edge on the C cup here. And around the ears, make sure we go through the client's ears and trim any ear hair that we see, providing the best service that we can. Little details really matter. See here, we do the eyebrows. Not trimming a ton off, just any long ones. And now he's prepped for the shave. So we got the lather on, and we're going to do neck shave for him. Go around the edges, make sure we get as close as we can to the skin. And remove all the hair. The neck shave with the hot lather is something that I think adds a lot of value to the client's experience, so I always do that. Now we're going to style the hair. So this is the Layrite Cement Clay. It's a semi-matte product, but we're going to go ahead and rub it through his head. We're going to make sure we get the front, especially for a flat top. I'm going to use my round brush and blow dryer, and I'm going to hit this with some hot air and combing the hair straight up. And I also, once I have it styled to the way that I want it to look, I hit it with a blast of the cold air to kind of hold it in place. Just a little bit of cold air, and that will hold it. Trim any ones that are standing up. Sometimes you get a few that pop up from after you style it. That is looking pretty flat to me. You can see this is the after. It's about as flat as it gets right there. I have a lot of fun doing these. I encourage you guys to try them. Thanks for watching. If you got any value, like, subscribe to the channel. Putting videos out every week like this. Take care, guys, and have a happy new year. Later.